Hey, good people who are watching the replay. Let me clean you off here a little bit to try to get us a little bit more clarity. We had 8 people RSVP, so it looks like people are starting to join now. So let's let folks in. Hey, hey. Hey, Karen.
Hey,
How you feeling?
a little tired, girl, but I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Oh, you had a busy weekend, Karen?
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas on Thursday
Okay.
and just trying to prep for that and get orders together and
Before you leave.
yeah, had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple wholesale orders, like all the things, but I'm all right.
Listen, I just jumped out the shower with my shower steamer.
Yes, girl.
Yes, I feel lovely. I feel so luxe. Oh, I have a question for you. So I said on IG that I dropped them in the bathtub as well. Is that okay to do?
I wouldn't drop them in the bathtub just
Okay,
because the level of concentration of the essential oils and stuff.
it's high.
And I don't want you having issues, with your,
Okay.
with your nether regions, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
I'm using it off label. Good to know.
yeah, I wouldn't advise that.
Hey, Carolyn, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Hop over. We got more people coming in. Eric is joining. I don't know if he's joined the live before. Hey, Eric, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Listen, Eric, I did not know you were an attorney until I saw it on the
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm there. I'm in that.
for how long, Eric?
Girl, many moons. I'm much older than you are. So I graduated from law school in 95, 1995.
Okay, okay. How has your
Hmm.
practice been over the decades?
It's evolved. It's evolved. I would say really I came into really my joy of it about
Ooh,
10
love
years
that.
ago when I opened my own practice.
Okay,
Yes, I was doing large scale litigation for many years. It started in Chicago, left, was miserable in Chicago, came to New York, and then fast forward about 10 years ago, opened my own, well, actually went into practice with a colleague of mine in estate planning
okay.
and ventured off on my own. So I've been doing that for about 10 years. And now I'm, I found a sweet spot for it.
You found your niche. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I did. I don't know if you guys saw my most recent YouTube upload. It came out on Friday
Hmm.
about why I quit my job.
I
And
saw that. Yeah.
so,
I didn't watch it yet, but I saw it.
okay.
I watched it. Yeah, good stuff.
Uh, thank you, sis. I was going through the comments, and it's interesting because a lot of people say I could totally relate, but the people who said I love my job, they all said the same thing as what you just said. They found the one thing, like that one sweet spot, and that has made all the difference for them. So,
Absolutely. I was miserable before. Miserable.
and you were with the big firm.
I was with a big firm when I first got out. Then I was doing consulting work, large litigation for big firms,
Okay, I
but
can
just
imagine. I can
miserable.
only imagine. Oh, well, I'm happy you found your joy. Hey,
Thank
Katrina.
you.
Hi everyone.
So let's do like a round of introductions because we do have a couple new faces, and I know we see each other on the feed, but we haven't all. So if we could just pop around and say who we are and one interesting thing about ourselves. Obviously, I'm Tashira. I'll pop it over to Eric.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan, but I live in Harlem. I've moved all over. I went to college in Philadelphia at Penn, went to law school in New Orleans, hit Chicago for a bit, came to New York, went back to Michigan, picked up another degree, came back, and just have landed in New York. Caregiver for my mother who's still in Michigan. So I go to Detroit once a month, every month. And that's it. I've got my own practice, but I love fashion, I love art, I love to travel, and I love to shower. So I'm here and I love the conversation, and I can't wait to meet all of you.
Eric. Katrina Sapase, tell us something good.
Sakpase. Well, my name is Katrina. I'm from Boston, originally Cambridge area, if anybody's familiar with the Boston area. I went to school in Hampton, Virginia, came back, and I've been back home since I graduated during the financial crisis. And I'm in the finance industry, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So I still work in finance, and my hobbies include lifting and dancing. So that's what I do outside of work that brings me joy.
And my girl had a birthday, what, like 2, 3 weeks ago, Katrina? When was your birthday?
Yeah, the 12th.
Yeah.
She did it up. Did y'all see her? Man, she
Uh-uh.
was messing around.
I cannot.
Good for you.
I
Good for
mean,
you.
seriously, that was inspiring, girl. You were doing your thing.
Thank you. Thank you so
Nice.
much.
I caught it. I caught it. Okay, Karen.
I am Karen Merritt. I live in the DMV area and I live in Crofton, which is in between like DC and Baltimore. I am a new entrepreneur going into my 3rd year. I had many jobs before that. I am also a caregiver for my mom. My mom she'll be 77 this year, God willing. She is in Florida. I'm originally from Florida. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. She's in Florida now visiting family, so I get a little break. Yeah, and I love all things beauty, fashion, and I'm getting into travel.
Yeah, you were telling us about that amazing trip that you and your girlfriend either you took or you had planned.
No, we're going in June.
Yes, yes, I've shared that with the people.
Oh, good, good. I'm so excited about it.
Carolyn, can you hear us? And I see Shalonda is coming in. Hey, Shalonda, welcome.
Hey, thank
Hey,
you.
not to put you on the spot, but we were doing introductions, so you were up next, friend. Tell us a little bit about
Oh,
who you
wow.
are.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my camera on. I think I look decent. Hey everybody.
Hey.
My name's Shalonda. I actually live in the DC area. I'm not originally from here. I'm from North Carolina, but I've been up here since 2007. I'm still not claiming DC, but I live up here. I'm in Alexandria, and I work for the government, and that's funny. I don't know what else I should share. Was there any questions or anything I should answer?
Just ask people
Okay.
something interesting about themselves. So nice
Awesome.
to meet you. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
So I wanted to start off today, y'all, with a bit of a goal check-in. I know Katrina and Karen were at our last conversation, and so we all went around y'all and we talked about what our goals were for the year. And I know we're just kind of a month into January, but I don't think it's ever too early to start with some accountability. So I just wanted to do a quick round robin to remind you all that this is the space to help each other learn, grow, and to be better. And we can hold space for each other in whatever way we need, virtual or maybe even in person. I didn't know it was so many people in the DMV area, like Shalonda and of course, Karen as well. So if anybody wants to just share out what they have been, I guess, encouraged by this year regarding their goals and any maybe stumbling blocks or challenges that you have experienced thus far.
I will say, I think for me, just like wanting to tap into the wellness industry. I know like what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's kind of like figuring out what space I want to enter, if that makes sense. And like I've been on this journey for a minute now, and it's just like, okay, what do I want to do exactly? So it's just kind of like figuring out like a specific space that I want to enter.
An entry point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel you. But do you feel like you're still kind of focused on the goal of figuring it out and you're making steps towards it, Katrina?
Yeah, so I'm like very intentional about like my days and like my weeks and like being intentional about rest, like not just go, 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 because prior to the pandemic, I was just all about go, go, go. And now really being intentional about like getting rest and like even with like the seasonal gig ending at Nespresso, I'm like reclaiming my time back because I didn't realize how much like energy, like the energy to even work another job outside of a 9 to 5. I forgot how much work that is. And yeah, like today I just wanted to do absolutely nothing. So I did just that. But yeah, just being more I guess intentional and like just really like honing in focus, like just figuring it out every single day.
That's good, girl. I mean, I personally feel like something good always comes from the intention alone. So
Mhm.
good for you.
Thank you.
I'll go. I think I am on track. What I'm doing this year that's different than years past. I've struggled my whole life with perfectionism to the point that it can be crippling because it causes indecision because you want everything to be just right. And so I'm just trying to do like one thing at a time, and then even doing it messy, doing it without the and giving myself grace without so much pressure on myself. And so I'm really leaning into that, and it's definitely going against the grain of just my nature, like who I am, and just trying to change that. And I know it's a trauma response. It's just that it is what it is, but I'm just trying to do things differently and just be definitely more intentional about that, and just taking my goals and just bite-sized pieces, and just doing it and putting more systems in place versus just a goal, but just putting systems in place so I can achieve those goals. And so that has I've let myself off the hook, and it's so freeing to do
Mhm.
that. So that's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
Karen,
Oh, go-
Hmm.
oh, Karen, I was just gonna say, whereas you mentioned you were a perfectionist, I'm an Olympic level avoider. So
Okay.
avoidance is my coping mechanism, and I can
Hmm.
push stuff to the side and not deal with it in gargantuan kind of ways, and things kind of accumulate in the background while I'm investing in others and dealing with others and kind of pouring into others.
Mm.
And now it's reached kind of a boiling point. Um, Particularly because I'm in a new, not a new relationship, but we are moving towards a more serious point in our relationship. And so there are issues that I must address, that I have to address. And so
Yeah.
for me, Tashira, for 2024, it's dealing with taxes. Um, exactly, exactly.
Say less.
Taxes,
Yeah.
budgeting, um, therapy. I've never done therapy before, but I finally reached a point where I said, yes, I need therapy. I need a therapist. And all of this is headed in the direction of focusing on my issues
Hmm.
and not those around me who I love and support and care dearly for. But I know that I can't be available to them if I don't invest in myself.
Yeah.
You know, even my mother, I can't be there for her. So there's some things that I must take care of, like I said, the taxes, the finances, the budgeting, putting those things in order. And I am in partnership with an Aries who's a very different personality than I am. I'm a Cancer.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
extremely, yeah. So we're polar opposites. I'm very sensitive, very emotional, and we have very different love languages, very different communication styles. But the good thing is, if there's balance, and so he is calling me to be my better self, which is a good thing. And so that's happening at the top of the year. So that's where I am. So I'm staying committed to those things.
Congratulations on love, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like especially as someone who is in a queer or same-sex relationship, it has been hard for me to love out loud. And so when I see people doing that, I
Mhm.
just want to be like, you know what? Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
congratulations. Because I know it just takes a bit of bravery to believe. I mean, for anyone,
Yeah.
possibly. But
Hmm.
I know for me, being a queer woman, sometimes I feel like, is this real? Like, do I really
Hmm.
deserve this? So
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, that part.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
I'll continue on with the trend of calling myself out since everybody else called themselves out. I am a huge procrastinator. And in terms of my goals, I have been procrastinating. I stepped into a new role at work last year. I'm in a management role now. And it's been very overwhelming to the point so that in my personal life, I'm to the point now where I was trying to find ways to kind of like relax and just like separate when I would leave work. But now I'm in the habit of reading. And that's not a bad thing, but the level that I'm at, it's like anytime I'm super stressed or like, which is always, or like if a lot's going on, which a lot's going on in my life right now, I tend to, or I have started gravitating to trying to immediately escape. So I find I will go and get food, which hasn't turned into a bad thing, but that could get worse. I go and eat the worst stuff. I go get the worst stuff and then I sit and I will read for hours to the point to where I will not get sleep because I'm just reading. And I'm reading and reading, and that's not healthy. So I'm trying to find balance in that because I really do enjoy reading, clearly. So I'm trying to find balance with that, but also stop procrastinating on the goals that I have that are gonna help me and make me better. So I'm trying to I fortunately have a boss who listens to me, and he tries to understand. So him and I have been having conversations lately. So I'm trying to kind of do a reset and get some things in place at work so that I'm not as overwhelmed as I have been, and can try to kind of reset, but again, stop procrastinating on the goals that are important for me. Because right now, work is taking over, and that wasn't my goal was to. One of my goals was to change that in the new year, and it has only gotten worse.
Mhm.
Yeah. Shout out to you for self-awareness, though. Yeah, sounds like you know exactly what you want to change, and sometimes that can be one of the hardest things for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Carolyn can hear us, so jump in if you can, and if you would like to share. I will say for me, y'all, I started off so strong with working on the workaholism and putting in boundaries and kind of staying aligned with that 10-step plan that I've shared with y'all that I've had. Primarily because that plan came out of a massive anxiety attack. And so I knew that what I wanted to do was make sure that I figured out a system. Somebody said systems that I could put into place to help me to just feel better and not go back to that dark place. And I haven't gotten there, which I'm thankful for. But we went to Cozumel, y'all, the week before last. It was honestly a tough trip because I spent the night in Miami, and then on the back end, my cousin got so sick until we ended up having to call a doctor at the hotel.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was very sick. I think it probably was COVID, but they
Oh,
didn't have a
wow.
COVID test. We would have had to go to the hospital and miss our flight and all this stuff. So he
Mm.
doubled up on the mask, and we had a time trying to get through customs, stood in line for over an hour, only to get home at like 3 o'clock in the morning the next day. And by then I too was sick. And so I feel like I spent last week just kind of just like in the water, not able to like grasp
Mm.
anything. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
everything I tried to like touch to feel productive or to kind of quell my anxiety, because then I felt like I wasn't doing enough. Nothing worked. Like every day I was anxious. Every day I felt like I was not productive. It just was kind of like grasping at straws. And so I am setting a new intention this week. I definitely need to get a lot more focused with, I think, a morning routine, which may help that, and be consistent with that. And also just giving myself grace, because maybe I wasn't supposed to do shit last week, but focus on healing and feeling
Ex-
better.
Exactly. That part.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
So trying it all over again, but again, not feeling like I'm failing at my goals, because
Mhm.
I have, I got off to a good start in the year.
Mhm.
So thank y'all for sharing. I appreciate it. I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit today. I thought we could spend our time talking about my fashion predictions for the year. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, so here's my thing, y'all. So I wrote down this list on some plane or another, and I thought to myself, I don't really believe in a lot of trends. That's not really the basis of my wardrobe, but it doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention to what's trending. But I think more generally, I have a few predictions. And so I have things that I think we should probably take a look at for those of us who are interested and invested in our style, because I think it's going to be everywhere. Number one, and this is not probably the best for me, but I think there's going to be a big pushback this year on influencers. I think that
Really?
I do. I think people are sick of it.
Mhm.
And if anybody knows one of the first kind of bloggers that broke into mainstream, her name is Chiara. She had this platform called The Blonde Salad. She's this Italian woman, literally looks like a Barbie doll.
Mhm.
And so, like, all the makings of an international success, millions upon millions of social media followers, one of the probably highest paid influencers. Well, what happened, I'll sum the story up quickly, is that the Italian government, y'all, fined her something like $2 million because she did a campaign with a cake company, and the company and her claimed that a proceed from the sales was going to go to a children's hospital. Eric shaking his head because he already knows legally where this is going.
Mhm.
The company had already made the donation, so the sales were not contingent upon the donation. They had donated, and it was some small amount, like $20,000 or something, compared to the millions that they made on the cakes because she was promoting these cakes. And somebody blew the whistle, and not in the too short kind of way. Somebody blew the whistle. And sis found herself fined by whatever governing body that they have in Italy. That same thing I don't think exists in the States. I don't know who would regulate that type of thing. But what I'm thinking is that there's some sort of like governmental oversight that we already know is missing in the industry that may come to the US, to the shores of the United States, especially if that's happening in Europe already. And I also think if we think about the rise of TikTok and how people are pushing back from that highly manicured like Instagram feed and algorithm, I think this may be the year that we are going to see something different as far as what is really going to influence and encourage people in whatever realm or industry. But I don't know. Y'all tell me I could be wrong. Like, how do you feel about professional content creators, influencers? What has that felt like for y'all over the years? Because I would love to hear some insight from, the tribe on that one.
I'm in like a coaching program for small businesses, and as it relates to like social media and all those things. And that's why I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to this workshop for that. And that, I think what you're saying, I think you're onto something. I think that is going to happen. It's less curated, perfect. I think people can see through it when it's just so superficial and is not relatable. And I think that people are tired of it. And that's even, we just had a call the other day, and that's kind of what they were talking about, just kind of like making yourself, whatever you're doing on social media, that is relatable, because the people that you're trying to reach, you want them to be able to relate to you. So I don't know, that may be the direction in which it's going. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm writing that down, right? It's a relatability factor.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, what I can share is, at least how I consume media, right? And how that has evolved over, say, the past 15 years. And I consume media in different ways. I'm not watching as much broadcast television.
Yeah.
On Friday nights, we're catching up on YouTube, different channels. We have folks that we follow, say on Sunday afternoons, we're catching up on fashion, we're catching up on food, we're watching the reality shenanigans that are going on in Atlanta, on Thursday and Friday, all of that. And so it shifted from broadcast television to Shira, as you said, these influencers and kind of self-made media personalities. And there is less regulation going on. There are less kind of guardrails. So I think that that's interesting that you're saying that. I think that I think brands have to be careful because something's going to happen because there are going to be some loose cannons out there. And so I think for you as an influencer, I think maybe it's important for you to kind of pull in kind of your own kind of guardrails and make sure kind of things are kind of in order. And we as consumers, I don't know. I think some things don't change, right? I mean, things just happen faster now. But I think, as always, we always raise celebrities to bring them down, right? That's nothing new. It's just now the new celebrities are influencers.
Yeah.
And so I think that same phenomenon will happen. I think that's just how it could, you know, in Western society, Americans, that's how we consume. And so now influencers, I think you're right, influencers will be the next targets.
Well said. So this is also why y'all, I mean, given my age and the fact that I was creating content before social media platforms, I don't really identify much with that title.
Okay.
And I started off this year wanting to push myself back into long form content. So that's another prediction on my list that I think
Okay.
blogging is coming back.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I think we see that with Substacks, because a Substack for me is nothing but a blog when it was, explained to me. I don't follow anyone on Substack. I don't know if y'all do.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
So this is so my white friend put me on. Marco said, "Oh, I think this is a white thing," because
Okay.
everybody.
There you go.
Because I have never heard of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like a Patreon for writers.
Oh,
So you get like free, and if you're a member, paid content that is all their writing and their analysis. And so, I mean, it's used for good and bad ways, because evidently in the case of President Gay, a lot of these right-wing conservatives, anti-woke brigade, they laid out their entire plan and formula on various Substacks for bringing her down. So it's kind of like a Reddit that's paid with longer form posts or blog posts.
Oh, wow.
But just to the point that people are reading individuals writing in a way that they were not. And it made me start to think, well, why did I stop blogging? And I think I just kind of became a victim of the machine, because I've never not considered myself to be a writer, but something happened probably around 2010, maybe 11, where it became clear that people were just not reading blogs. And if you were still blogging and you were not on social media, then why were you doing it, right? Because no one was going to come to your blog independently. And so I'm excited for written content to come out, and excited for all the things I've shared with y'all that I want to get into this year that is outside of those brand collabs, because I didn't trade one boss for another.
That
Amen
part.
to that.
Yeah, that part.
Amen to that. That's good. That's encouraging to hear about blogs, because I was a huge blog reader, follower, all of that.
Yeah.
And I had a blog, and the same thing. I was like, oh, well, it's transitioning. And I just kind of stepped away from it. Because I was like, well, are people still reading, blogs? Are people still doing that? But that's encouraging to know, because I loved it. I loved doing it. But that's really interesting.
Yep, it is coming back now. To get people off these social media platforms to go there, that's the piece of the puzzle that I don't know what that's going to look like. I think people who are probably 35 and older who remember those days, it'll be kind of easier for them to flex that muscle. But shit, at this point, we got Gen A out here, influencing buying trends down at the Sephora. So getting them to sit down and read a blog post, or incentivizing that for a younger audience, I think it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like.
yeah, because I remember when Lovey used to do blogs on Insecure.
Yes.
I'll be like, yeah, I need to get on it, like when she dropped it. And so it's going to be interesting to see the transition too.
Yeah. For Harriet, I used to love that platform. I don't know if she still does her thing. All right. So that's number one. Well, number 1 and 2, because 2 included the longer form content. I'd be interested on y'all's opinion on this. I think this is the year of Black designers. I think we got it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Who have y'all been
Agreed.
following? Anybody that you just like really loving, where the fashion, jewelry, lifestyle categories as far as what they create?
Hanifa, of course.
The
Yeah.
bridal collection is what
First
I'm
piece from her
Yeah.
of Black Friday. I got my first piece from her Black Friday. I'm like, yeah, I like the direction of her style for
Mhm.
sure. Brandon Blackwood, I got like 2 winter coats from him, which you know,
Wait, winter coats, Brandon Blackwood?
yeah, Teddy, like the Teddy coats. I
Oh
got
no, I didn't
from Black
know.
Friday sale. Yeah, he had a green one and a black one. They were like $100 each, and I just like grabbed it. What else? I mean, Glamaholic, I always liked her bags. Who else? Trying to think. But yeah, I mean, I think Black Friday I did some black designer shopping.
Who's the sister that does the shoes?
Uh-huh. Oh,
Janae just interviewed her.
yeah, I don't know why I was just on her page the other day, and Monroe was wearing a pair of her shoes recently.
Yes.
Monroe and I think Alicia have the same pair, and they're bad. They're the ones with the
Yeah.
fur.
She's doing it.
100%.
Yeah. I'm blanking on her name, but she's doing it.
Yeah, I like her a lot. Y'all know I'm always like on my jewelry steez, so I'm still really in love with Mateo's pieces. I also just think Mateo as a person, like I follow him on IG, I highly recommend it. It is just the most delicious content that he creates. I don't know what he's doing. I'm like, why are you so rich? You can't be doing this much fucking jewelry. Maybe you are. You selling drugs? Why are you on a private plane with a Birkin with a hack 40? With a big Rolex on your wrist? This is the life that I need to live with you. Put me in the Birkin, Mateo. And Almasika are two fine
Yeah.
jewelry brands that I'm still really into. So Hanifa, yes, 100%. Fumi the Label also, I think her pieces are nice. Bruce Glenn, they do a lot of color, so not always for me, but I respect what they do. I think they have great vision. I'm a big Elisa Johnson fan as far as the sunglasses are concerned, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I
There's
think,
this,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's this brother that is a bespoke like he does suits. I'll share your information, but he is going on, he's opened his own brand. He does styling, but now he's doing his own suits as well. I'll
Okay.
share his information, but I found him on IG.
Oh, please do.
Mhm.
Because I definitely am preparing obviously all the February content. My Black owned business video is still one of my highest viewed videos on my channel. And so when people say that you cannot create content for a specific demographic, I always found that to be laughable because that video negates that.
For it. We're looking for it. We want to see that kind of stuff. So obviously, I think people use that as, I don't know, I don't want to say as an excuse, but I think it's BS because we want to see it.
Yep. Yep. So I want to do a little bit of a haul. So I've had a running list of who I want to purchase things from. So thank y'all. I'm gonna look up Glamaholic. I'm not familiar with them. I've also been looking
You're in.
for black workout wear. The brands that have been recommended, they don't have a lot of stock. So do y'all know any athletic wear companies?
Mhm.
Dana Bolden, she has like an apparel.
Okay,
That's
that's
right. That's
Uh,
right. She used to have a blog too.
Yeah.
I
And then
remember.
the guys that I went to Bali with, they just dropped a line called High Frequency. But other black athletic wear, I'm not really 100% on that. You don't see too many of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's the area that I would love to see us more greatly represented in. Um, but it just feels like the backing is there, the showrooms that are associated with the New York Fashion Week, that's going to happen again in February. It feels like the work is being done in some ways to just push us out a little bit more. Also, us being carried by major retailers. I mean, you can find Brandon Blackwood and Bruce Glenn, Sergio Hudson, Christopher John Rogers everywhere at this point, which we couldn't have said 10 years ago. So I think this is our year.
You know
Tashara,
who
could you
also? Oh, go ahead.
could you include, you went to Oakland and you went to that,
McMullen.
so so the retail angle of it as well, I think is important as well. So brands and also retail.
Yep. Let me put that.
McMullen, is that the name of the store?
McMullen. The
Okay.
owner is her name is Sherry McMullen. She was a buyer for, I think, Saks or Neiman's for
Yeah,
years.
okay.
Were you gonna say something, Katrina?
Have you guys heard of Rich Fresh?
Mhm.
I feel like I saw his stuff. He has like a lot of like suits, and I'm looking at his page now. Because like Kevin Hart wears a lot of his stuff, but they it's like a lot of colors too. But it does seem like it's closer to the apparel line, but not like necessarily athletic wear.
Thank you. I'm gonna look them up. My next category is hear me out. And I know y'all gonna be surprised it's coming from me. I think people are gonna be spending less on luxury this year, and it's for 3 reasons. Number one, interest rates are high as fuck. I don't know who told these people that we need to pay 7% interest on anything. That's egregious. As a result, rent is also very high, housing stock is very limited. And I
Yes.
think I'm seeing all these things, these post articles where they are surveying Gen Z about how difficult it is to leave their parents' homes and to live independently because of inflation. Things are so expensive. Now, the Biden administration will tell us that the economy is in a great place, but we're still spending more. That's just, it's no way around that, right?
Yeah.
So I think as we look towards that, it's kind of like, why am I spending money on luxury items where I'm just trying to anchor myself in like a good financial place long term? The other thing is that if you look in the fashion industry, I saw a Business of Fashion article about how horrible last year was for Burberry. And they're not the only luxury house that lost profits last year. And also on BOF was an article about how nobody wants to work anymore in the luxury industry. And I had to agree with that. Although it was the best job I ever had, I think the inflexibility of the schedule is tough. And and we're dealing with all of these digital nomads right now. People aren't wanting to stand up for 8 hours a day down at the Saks. They want to figure out how they can work in a way that's going to work for them. And so those 3 things in mind, paired with another one of my predictions, which said this is a year of the dupe over the designer.
Mm.
I just think that we're going to see less being spent in a luxury space. But y'all tell me, reflections, thoughts. Am I wrong? Am I right? You agree? You disagree? What you think?
You
Are
know
we
what's
consuming more fast fashion?
Mhm.
Possibly. I hadn't even
Okay.
taken it that far. I mean, to the degree that the dupe is at a fast fashion label.
Right.
Yeah, but I think also what I'm noticing, Eric, is that with the democratization of media in this way, right? You can go anywhere on any platform and find a dupe for the thing. It is
Right.
just so
Yeah.
easy, right? When we were growing up, we had to wait for a magazine to come out to
Mm.
figure out who was interpreting certain trends, or we had to go to a brick and mortar store. Now, the first thing I see on my For You page is a review of the thing that is a dupe of the other thing, and they're calling it by name.
That's interesting. Mm.
That's my prediction. I know for me personally, while I think about like what my next move is going to be, whether or not I'm going to be in this house long term, where I'm headed, I don't know. I think I've done a lot of buying in the past, and I'm at a different phase in my life financially, and also like as far as my wardrobe is concerned. And so I'm really looking forward to my trip in Paris. I have a list that's growing about things that I want to go and take a look at that I may come home with. But overall, I'm spending and consuming much more consciously this year. I haven't even bought anything. I went to Nina Bing yesterday and got a couple pieces for spring, but other than that, I haven't even bought anything this month, which says a lot for me as a content creator.
You know what? As I think about what you just said, and you mentioned Paris, and I'll give you a link to an incredible vintage shop, Black-owned vintage shop
Oh,
in
love it.
Paris that we found. But you talk about dupes and kind of the step away from luxury. Maybe there's going to be a pivot towards vintage, right? And kind of, we talk about sustainability and the step away from luxury consumption. Vintage is the perfect way to accommodate all of that and be sustainable, spend less, buy high quality, be fashion forward, be stylish, So what we may see is more vintage shopping and an increase of vintage retailers.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's really
The spot in Paris is called Nice Piece.
okay.
Nice Piece. And there's a sister, Jamaican sister there who was our guide. And I don't typically do guided tours. She was awesome. I'll get you her contact. I heard from
Please do, because I'm going by myself.
awesome.
So I need
Oh,
like, yeah,
awesome.
okay.
You'll love it. Fantastic.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, I like this idea about vintage because I would throw in there consignment as well. And
Yes.
so people are
Mhm.
also getting a lot more hip
Yes.
to not just kind of the resale sites that we all know, the Real or the Best Kid Collective, but also things like ThreadUp.
Mhm.
Where you can go and find pieces. It's just, I'm not seeing it. And then the customer service practices have just gotten so bad at some of these brands. Why would we? We don't have to spend our money ways. Other places our money can go. Back to
Mhm.
also the year of the Black owned designers. So
Mhm.
everything is incentivizing that for me. Then the last thing I had was I think we're going to go back to a lot more everyday dressing. I think this is the year where all of that cartoon animated fashion is going downhill. I think that post-pandemic, we were like, oh, I could put some clothes on, right? And so the designers were just doing the craziest things, Loewe with the broken egg shoes and the rose heels
Yeah.
with the boots,
Yeah.
right? People just wanted to be outside and to feel like they had that thing on because we had been in sweats for 2-3 years. But even
Mhm.
some of the runway collections last year, a lot of those were what they would call everyday dressing, right? They were suits, they were blouses, there were pencil skirts. So for somebody like me, like I'm about to be in my bag, in my era, because that's what I love. But I think there is going to be a lot more high fashion, quote unquote, on display that doesn't feel so avant-garde or outlandish. We're going to speak a lot more to kind of the middle of the road consumer, those styles that everybody can find a little bit of something in.
Well, that's good to hear. And something that you have taught me or kind of put on my radar is when I am purchasing to purchase very specifically. And for example, go for materials. So like before, now I'm more conscious of looking at the fabric content.
Mhm.
So, is cash, natural fabrics, that kind of thing. And so as things are not as outlandish, I'm looking more towards the quality of the pieces, what's the composition, that kind of thing, as I'm decluttering and kind of pulling things back into my wardrobe. So thank you for that as we're shifting over to more kind of basic kind of things.
You're welcome. And that actually brings up something really good, Eric. Like, how are people feeling about their own style this year? Anything that you want to call forward, anything that you're letting go of? What's your intention for your wardrobe? I love to know. Let's start with Shalonda, because you got a new job, sis. You a manager now. We need to know.
I have actually, I went to quite a few, I did do a thrift store, but mostly consignment shops. And I got like a lot of suits and dresses. So they were calling me not last week, the week before last. Well, through the holidays, we do a lot of events at work, and there were a lot of pictures up on our internal website, and they started calling me Miss Next Top Model.
Okay, you was putting it on down there. I
All
love
right,
that.
next
like,
top
I'll take
model.
it.
Yes.
I'll take it.
I love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of work, I think I'm doing good. It's my outside of work clothes. I really need to do some work there. Now, I will put on something that I would wear to work. Nope, I'm lying. I won't. If I'm going out, yeah, my wardrobe is very limited outside of work. So I need to work on that. But also my social life is not, especially right now, it's not that popping. So but when I do need to go somewhere, it's like I don't have anything to wear. So finding what my style is outside of work is definitely something I need to work on.
Okay, that just gave me a video idea. I wrote that down.
Oh,
Thank you.
good. I'm glad.
What else, y'all?
I've been purging a lot. Like I still need to do some more cleaning, but a lot of stuff that I don't wear like the past 2 years, I've just been putting them in bags so I can give them to Goodwill and stuff. But as far as my style now, it's like athleticism slash sophisticated slash formal-ish. So I'm like keeping that now. Like I like a good blazer, so you always see me rocking a blazer
Yeah.
somehow. So that's like my staple piece. But yeah, just like keeping like I love colors during the summer, so I have like a lot of color during the summer. In the wintertime, it's more like dark colors and such, and like maybe a little pop of color, but just keeping it basic.
Got you. Good, good, good.
I'm trying to figure that out. With the pandemic, me working for myself, and then what I do is it's very messy. So, when I go to the studio, I'm wearing sweats or leggings and just stuff that if it gets something on it, it doesn't matter. And then outside of that, so before that, my jobs that I've had, I worked in HR for like 15 years at a school and at a private school, a Christian school. So it was very conservative, and so all of that stuff is gone. And so now just trying to figure that out, like when I go anywhere, so I'm pretty casual, but not to the point where it's like it doesn't look like I've given any thought to it, but just trying to figure out now that I've transitioned, and not having to dress daily every day to go to an office, just trying to figure that out because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know what I like. And then just trying to incorporate a lot of that back into my wardrobe, the things that I like, that I enjoy. And I think I have a challenge too because I'm short. And so some things that I really, really like, and I see it on someone else, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if that'll work. But I did buy those jeans, Tashara, that everybody's been those Gap jeans, and they came yesterday. And I actually went to church today. And I was like, okay, I'm sure I don't know how it's gonna work, but they worked beautifully. And I like, yeah, so I was really not too excited because I didn't think it was gonna work on me,
Okay.
but it did. So, so I'm just trying to figure it out. I have your thing here. I printed out.
Okay.
It was on my desk. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay. How tall are you, Karen?
5'3".
Yeah, you are
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
short. I mean, I am
sure.
short, so that can be a challenge, So
Yeah, I'm at the other end of the spectrum, so I completely understand.
yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Eric? I know you shared a little bit.
Regarding fashion,
Mhm.
it's a mess. It's a
I do
mess
not
because
believe that.
I don't either.
You need
well, it's a mess in that I am all over the place. Like I really need to do some purging because I have too much. And I am now left to my own devices because I have my own practice. I'm working out of the house and so I have a uniform that I can wear if I'm meeting clients, but other than so the last thing I purchased is a metallic silver J.W. Anderson motorcycle jacket. Like, why did I do that?
But wait, why I love this though?
Metallic silver. It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
It is. It sounds fabulous.
It's our code, and the price was incredible. It was. I got it on Farfetch. It's fantastic. Oh, and I got some Oxblood boots, J.W. Anderson boots to go. Why do I need that? So it's just weird. And so I've got to focus,
Okay, I
do
see.
the purging and fill in the gaps. And that's what he tells me as well. There are just some basics that I need. There's some things that you just can't pass up. Like that I could not pass up. But I need to circle back to like the basics and fill those gaps in. My denim is garbage. I got to get rid of all my denim and kind of take a look back at that. And then the basic kind of look at trousers. Like I'm dressing just differently. Like I'm not wearing suits every day anymore.
Yeah.
right? And so I just have to look at my wardrobe differently so that I don't have to be in suits, but I don't want to be in sweats, but I want to look nice.
Right.
So there's something that I've just got to find that, which again, there are too many options. So I have to focus down. So that's kind of where I am right now.
And see, I'm at the point where I really want to support people and like helping them to address their pain points. I think in my content creation journey, I've gone through the phase of being like, I got the cute outfit, look at me, which there's nothing wrong with that kind of content. Sometimes things should be
Right.
aspirational, but I'm at the
Yeah.
point where I want to fall back into kind of my style educator hat and be
Yeah.
able to say, okay, if I'm hearing you say that you have a limited wardrobe outside of work, or that you work from home and you want to know what a capsule might look like for you when day to day, like Karen said, I'm actually just wearing things that I can get dirty. Or to your point, Eric, I need to purge and fill the gaps with basics before I kind of keep buying the stunt pieces. That's three things that I could easily
That's it.
help to support
That's
people. Yeah.
Mhm.
To be
That's
able
it.
to think through. I mean, at least be a thought partner, right? Even if I don't have
Mhm.
the exact answer for your specific style, I might be able to help people with some things that I would think about and questions I would ask myself if I was in that same position.
Mhm.
That would be helpful. That would be because there's not a lot of content that I can think of a few, but there's not a lot of content out there like that. It's more of the look at me, whatever, which you, like you said, that's fine, but then you want to get into the meat of it where, okay, how can this relate to me or your audience? Where then we can glean from that and just like, okay, I can do this because you've given me the foundational tools to be able to go and fill those gaps that are in my wardrobe. So that would be very helpful.
Mhm.
Y'all, do me a favor, look out for a survey. I'm going to drop it this week in multiple places because I want to get more clear on what kind of support people need and what that might look like. Is it a pre-recorded webinar series, like a e-course? Is it a small group thing? Is it one-on-one services? What would be helpful for people? So I've been thinking a lot with my business accountability partner, Bernice, who some of y'all have met. She and I check in every other week, and that's one of the things that I'm working on right now is just surveying people to hear more of what you all just shared with me. So I'll drop that soon. I would love it if you shared.
Mhm.
That is it for me. That is all of my kind of fashion predictions. Anything else? What are y'all thinking? Is there anything else that you've seen? I mean, obviously things like the color red is still trending, but is there anything that you're excited about for fashion that you're seeing? I could tell you something I hate is that damn Margot bag by the row. If y'all have seen that, they're saying it's gonna replace the Birkin.
No.
I haven't seen that.
Is it that very simple one, very plain, very
Yes,
simple? Yeah.
it's nothing to look at, Karen.
Okay.
Mm.
I just think it's more of that quiet luxury thing that the
Mhm.
girls are very
Yeah.
enamored with. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, they're selling out. It is at this point, you
Wow.
can't even get them, and they're very expensive.
No, wow.
Wow. Yeah, there's nothing special.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
it
Let's,
is
no.
everywhere. Sometimes I think we're getting like these fashion houses are laughing at us because we're getting duped into making rich people's everyday items special for us, right? Like a
Mhm.
$5,000 bag, most people would have to save up their money for. For rich people, or they just give it, it's a PR gift from
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
thinking it's something special. Yeah.
Mhm. So true. Wow.
That is yeah, kind of where I am with things. Oh, I can show y'all what I picked up from Anina Bing yesterday.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop in the private community kind of someone asked me about Anina Bing, so that's kind of where this came from. And I said, oh, I can tell you about it because I love the store. So
There's one locally.
there is this in Bethesda Road,
Okay.
which is my new favorite place to kind of go hang out, shop. They got food, they got retail, and they got all the things. And Bethesda isn't too far away from me. And I think the DC Metro really struggles in the fashion arena. I mean, in my opinion, Katrina, Boston has better shopping than DC.
Oh,
Really?
wow. Really? Wow.
Like the whole Newberry Street area,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
go down there and find something right at every price point, from H&M to Fendi.
Okay.
DC doesn't really have that same
No.
type of, yeah, especially not any contemporary brand. So just
Mm.
another very simple baseball cap in my baseball cap era, y'all. And so I wanted to get that color. My partner just told me that I had to have that color cap. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll grab it. And then back to kind of like everyday dressing. So a little sweatshirt, the sweatshirts and the tees are kind of one of the things that they're known the most for because they are so incredibly soft. And I
Okay.
see this, y'all know me with just like a pair of trousers,
Mhm.
obviously denim. But what I wore it with in the store that I had to have were these silk pants. And what I loved is that the bottom actually had
Oh, it's split.
Yeah.
Nice.
there. Yep.
Nice.
And the sizes, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how friendly they are to the curvy girls. Because this is an extra large. And I feel like they have some inclusivity to go as far as their sizing is concerned and their pants. But I love their dresses. I wore one on New Year's Eve. So I'm probably gonna kind of package up all of my Nina Bing pieces, because to your point about wardrobe essentials, I think they have great pieces and the fabrics are always good. They're not the cheapest, they can be a little pricey, but they're good investments. And I think a lot of their pieces can be unisex as well. Okay.
Yeah, I like that sweater and those
Mhm.
pants.
Thank
Me
you. The sweatshirt comes in a tee too.
Uh,
Yeah. So happy Sunday, y'all. I'm about to get in here and watch the rest of this game. Does anybody watch football?
Yeah.
I'm Detroit, so I
That's
need to be watching the game
right.
right now.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Margot and her Celtics. I just thought about the Celtics the other day.
girl, her being a big Celtics fan. We'll see. Thank y'all for joining. I think I'm going to keep this day and time of the month every month so that we'll have some
Okay.
consistency on our calendar. So I'll see you back here next month.
That sounds good. That
All right.
sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Y'all take care.
Y'all
Bye,
take care. Have a
everybody.
good day.
Bye. Have a
Bye-bye.
good week.
You too.